Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you something that genuinely made me excited about reading threat intelligence reports once again. And if you've been in CTI work for any length of time, you know that's a pretty bold statement to make. Picture this, it's Monday morning, your inbox has 17 new threat reports to go through. Black Bastards dropped a new variant, and CrowdStrike have released a 40-page breakdown. Your CISO wants a briefing by noon, and you're on page 12 of this dense technical prose manually sketching attack chains in a notebook, knowing you'll have to redo this entire visualization in PowerPoint before the briefing at noon. Sound familiar? Well, what if I told you there's an open source tool that can take that 40-page report and turn it into an interactive attack flow diagram in less than 60 seconds? And it's completely free. And it runs locally on your machine. And it even exports to STIX 2.1 format. That tool is called FlowViz. And by the end of this video, you're going to want to spin it up and jump in immediately. Before we dive into the tool itself, let's talk about why it matters. The MITRE ATT&CK matrix has been revolutionary for our industry. It's the periodic table of adversary behavior. But here's the thing, the matrix is fundamentally non-temporal. When you look at an attack navigator layer, you see that they use phishing or PowerShell or credential dumping, but you don't see how these fit together. The matrix flattens causality. It's like getting a list of ingredients without the recipe. Sure, you know they use flour, eggs and sugar, but did they make a cake or a disaster? The operational reality of a cyber attack is a sequence. It's a flow. There are loops, branches, failures, retries, and critically, there are choke points. Specific sequences that if you disrupt them, you can break the entire kill chain. But finding those choke points means reading dense technical reports, highlighting in PDFs, and manually sketching out attack chains. It's time consuming, it's exhausting, and in an environment where time to understanding equals time to detection, that manual latency is a vulnerability that no CTI team can afford. Enter FlowViz. FlowViz is an open source, web-based tool created by David Johnson, a threat intelligence advisor at Feedly, and it does something genuinely innovative. It uses large language models, specifically Claude and ChatGPT, to automatically extract attack flows from unstructured threat reports and visualize them as interactive graphs mapped to MITRE ATT&CK. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another AI tool that hallucinates half of its output. And look, that's a fair concern. We'll get to the limitations later. But here's what makes FlowViz different. It's not trying to replace the analyst. It's designed as human augmentation. Think of it as giving you an 80% complete rough draft in seconds. The kind of draft that would normally take you 2 or 3 hours to create manually. FlowViz handles the extraction, the entity recognition, the temporal linking, all the manual grunt work we want to avoid. You come in at the verification stage, not the creation stage. And this is critical because of how it actually works. FlowViz isn't just keyword matching, it's using models like Claude 3.5 Sonnet with massive context windows. That means you can feed it an entire 50-page report, and it maintains global context. It can link an initial access event on page 2 with an impact event on page 45. because it literally remembers the whole document. Alright, so what can this thing actually do? First, automated article analysis. You can throw a URL at it, any public threat report, from the DFIR report, Mandiant, Red Canary, or a CISO advisory. Or you can paste raw text for internal reports. The AI then performs semantic extraction. It's not just finding the word PowerShell and slapping 21509.001 on it. It's distinguishing between defensive PowerShell usage and offensive PowerShell usage. It's identifying threat actors, malware families, and mapping them to the STIX 2.1 object models. And here's a feature that genuinely impressed me: image analysis. Many technical blogs convey critical information in screenshots of command line outputs, architecture diagrams, you name it. Most text parsers commonly miss this data. FlowViz uses multimodal vision models to extract text and context from embedded images. That is a massive leap forward. Second, we have story mode. This is my favourite feature, and it's one that makes FlowViz genuinely unique. Here's the scenario. You've generated a complete attack flow. It's got 50 nodes, complex branching. It's accurate, but it's also overwhelming to go through. If you show this to your CISO or present it to your board of directors, you're going to get blank stares. Story mode solves this. It transforms the static graph into a cinematic animation. It plays the attack like a movie. The view zooms into the initial access node, highlights it, then smoothly pans along the edge to the next step, and then the next. This bridges the gap between technical analysis and executive communication. It turns a strategic report into a dynamic briefing tool, and for those of us who have to translate our technical findings into business risk, this is gold. Let me give you 3 concrete scenarios where FlowViz changes the game. Scenario 1 is rapid threat triage. Black Bastard drops a new ransomware variant. The Mandiant report publishes their analysis. 40 pages, dense technical detail. Without FlowViz, your analyst spends 4 hours reading that report, highlighting, manually typing T-codes into a spreadsheet to assess the coverage. With FlowViz, 60 seconds to generate the visual graph. The analyst immediately sees the critical path. They can focus instantly on the choke points. Time to coverage assessment drops from hours to minutes. Scenario 2. Executive briefing. Your CISO needs to present to the board about a recent high-profile breach in the news. You map the breach in FlowViz and switch to story mode. The visualization transforms complex technical causality into business-relevant narrative. Non-technical stakeholders can actually see the attack chain and understand where their defense is held or failed. Scenario 3. Training and tabletop exercises. Your blue team needs a realistic scenario for a tabletop exercise. So you use FlowViz to generate a flow from a real-world incident report. The facilitator of this exercise walks through. Okay, the adversary has just completed step 3, process injection. Blue team, what do you see in your logs? Real-world data drives the exercise. It's grounded in actual adversary tradecraft, not hypothetical what-ifs. Now, here's where I'm going to save you some pain. Let's talk about the limitations that nobody mentions in the demo videos. First, LLMs hallucinate. There's a non-zero risk that FlowViz will generate a technique that isn't actually in the report, or misinterpret a defensive recommendation as an offensive action. This is where FlowViz is explicitly a human-in-the-loop tool. You must verify the output. Sure, it's a force multiplier, not a replacement for judgment. Second, the ambiguous techniques problem. Some attack techniques, like system owner or user discovery, happen constantly in benign administrative activity. Distinguishing between an admin checking who am I and an attacker checking who am I requires contextual understanding. While LLMs are better at context than keyword searches, they can still struggle with poorly written reports that lack clear attribution of intent. Third, we have edge inference. Determining exactly how two events are linked, the edge in the graph, is often harder than identifying the events themselves. Reports frequently imply causality rather than stating it explicitly. FlowViz has to infer that causal connection, and that inference isn't always perfect. Alright, let's wrap this up. FlowViz addresses a critical pain point in our field: information overload. We're drowning in threat reports, and the manual process of extracting actionable intelligence is unsustainable for most teams. FlowViz uses AI not to replace the analyst, but to handle the grunt work, the extraction, the entity recognition, that initial temporal mapping. Is it perfect? No. You need to verify its output. You need to understand its limitations. But the efficiency gains are undeniable. What used to take 2 to 3 hours now takes less than 60 seconds, plus maybe 15 minutes for verification. That's a 10 times improvement in time to understanding. If you want to try FlowViz, I've linked the GitHub repository in the description below. Try spinning it up, feed it a threat report, and watch the magic happen. And let me know in the comments, what's the first report you're going to analyze with this new tool? I'm genuinely curious what techniques are shown up in your environment. Hit like if you're going to give it a try, and subscribe for more tools that actually solve real world problems. I'll see you in the next one.